Are you ready? Today we are cracking an incredibly bizarre economic murder mystery. The victims? Tens of thousands of businesses that should have thrived. And the murder weapon? You will never guess. It is a so-called protective umbrella. The original intention was good, supposed to protect the vulnerable, but the result? It is silently and ruthlessly strangling companies. Sounds way too counterintuitive, right? Well, stick around, because the cold, hard data is going to completely flip your understanding.
Think about it. We are not talking about a short-term blip here. We are talking about 2 full decades. Over 20 years, companies in Portugal didn't just stagnate, they were mysteriously and continuously shrinking. It is like they completely reversed the laws of economic gravity, right? Every single company just getting inexplicably smaller and smaller. It is honestly chilling to look at.
So here is the big question. Why on earth would an entire economy actively shrink its own companies? I mean, the fundamental mission of any business is to expand, to grow bigger and stronger. That is basic common sense. So what terrifying, invisible force is forcefully reversing this ironclad rule?
Now, someone will definitely try to excuse this and say, oh, don't overreact. It is just the natural shift to a service economy. Honestly, that is pure excuse-making. The data slaps this argument right in the face. Just look at Denmark during the exact same period. They shifted to a service economy too. But guess what? Their average firm size actually expanded. So that old cliche, it just doesn't hold any water at all.
Let's look at this chart. The contrast is absolutely extreme. Over the past few decades, the distribution of company sizes in the US shifted completely to the right. That means firms got larger. The same thing happened in Denmark. But Portugal? Boom, a total shift to the left. This means the entire economy isn't growing, it is literally collapsing inward. Unbelievable.
Experts threw around all sorts of excuses, but the researchers used brutal data to smash them one by one. Expanding the statistical database? That only accounts for 22% of the shrinkage. Breaking up 1980s monopolies? Even more ridiculous. That is a microscopic 0.002%. Even that service economy shift we just talked about explains 26% at best. So where is the real culprit for the rest of it? These standard excuses do not even scratch half of the truth.
Finally, the truth comes out. The real killer has been hiding right under everyone's noses this whole time. Only, it was wearing a beautiful cloak of protection. What is it? An extremely strictly enforced set of labor laws. Its intention was to protect workers, absolutely. But in reality, it mutated into a massive, highly toxic penalty on hiring. You heard that right. Punishing the very companies willing to hire people.
It is a disaster. And here's how the dominoes fall. Step 1. The law makes firing someone virtually impossible, which naturally leads to step 2. Hiring someone instantly becomes a ridiculously dangerous financial gamble. If you hire the wrong person, you cannot let them go. So step 3, what do the smartest, best managers do? Simple. They completely stop expanding. And the final result? The exact workers who should be earning high salaries at great companies are entirely locked out.
Look at this graphic. The entire talent pool of the country is completely warped. Normally, highly capable people become bosses, and others become employees to share in the success, right? But under this extreme protection, good bosses are terrified to hire. The outcome? People who would be perfectly happy as employees are forced to start their own tiny, highly inefficient micro-businesses. It is the ultimate misallocation of resources. Facing a completely stagnant economy, policymakers panicked. So, what did they do? They decided to give small businesses exemptions. They promised to ease the burden of these labor laws. Sounds great, right? Completely wrong. This directly created an even more terrifying trap. They accidentally built a system that actively punishes success. It is insane. The more successful you are, the heavier the penalty.
Here's the crucial core of the problem. Watch these 3 numbers: 10 workers, 20 workers, and 50 workers. These are the 3 lines of death. Once you cost them, bam, a crushing wave of legal and tax burdens hits you like a brick wall. Want to hire your 20th worker? Sorry, you instantly lose a massive 95% tax deduction and get slammed with hellish firing laws. Put yourself in the boss's shoes. Would you dare hire anyone? Absolutely not.
This is just a brilliantly absurd choice. The policy is literally forcing you to suppress your own company. To avoid stepping on those landmines, what is the most rational thing to do? Stop growing. Stay tiny and safe forever. It forcibly squeezed high-potential companies into eternal dwarfs that can never grow up. That right there is the core secret behind the massive economic shrinking.
The end result is genuinely shocking. Out of nowhere, Portugal saw a massive explosion of zero-employee businesses. Basically, self-employed freelancers. Look at the data. In the 1980s, this was barely 1%. By the 90s, it hit 3.5%. And by the late 2000s, boom, it broke past 10% of the total economy. And please note, this was absolutely not a booming wave of enthusiastic entrepreneurship.
The most heartbreaking truth is right here. These people weren't starting companies because they had some grand ambition. They were forced into it because the best, biggest companies simply could not afford the fatal risk of hiring them. So a massive chunk of the workforce was helplessly trapped in this swamp of extremely low productivity self-employment, just struggling to survive.
Frankly, this is the most biting irony of these policies. They tried to eliminate all job risk on paper. They tried to provide absolute security. But the real-world consequence? They unintentionally locked the entire country into a shrinking, highly inefficient dead end. The umbrella that was supposed to offer shelter actually morphed into a deadly noose. As the researchers so sharply pointed out, an old saying perfectly sums up this entire tragedy. The road to hell is truly paved with good intentions. It really is. When you push so-called good intentions while completely ignoring cold economic realities, the only thing you get is a total systemic disaster.
To wrap things up, I want to leave you with an incredibly raw and provocative question. If the ultimate price of protecting workers is destroying the very companies that actually pay their salaries, if the cost is the total stagnation of national productivity, then who exactly are these extreme policies protecting? I really hope today's deep dive gives you some fresh, counterintuitive perspectives. All right, that is it for now. See you next time.